Hello, ladies. Welcome to part 3 of the marriage audit. If you are new here and this is your first time interacting with me, watching one of my lives, please say hello, introduce yourself, and put a little 1 next to that so I know this is the very first time. If you're here on the replay, put hashtag replay. And if you're someone who is watching the whole series and is here from the beginning and wants to, and I'd love to know if you've already done 1, 2, and now you're on 3. And if you're like, no, I just showed up at 3, but I got to get back and watch the other 2, let me know. I want to hear what resonates with you, what questions you have, what parts are standing out for you. So today we're going to talk about why friendship is not enough, okay? Everybody knows that friendship is not really enough, but what we don't realize is that 90% of the conventional marriage advice teaches you how to be friends, right? Think about it. It teaches you how to communicate in such a way that, it's kind, it's neutral, it's not mean. It teaches you how to share the load in some equitable fashion. It teaches you how to be good roommates. And where are you going to learn how to have a passionate love affair with that stuff? Well, spoiler alert, it doesn't work. Most of the advice will not get you that love affair. It will get you to be very good and kind roommates if you execute perfectly. But usually it's hard to execute because one of the things that prevents us from being really kind and patient and gracious to our husbands is resentment over not having our needs met. So if your emotional needs are not being met, if your needs for romance and love and passion are not being met, you're not even going to be a very nice roommate in the end because you're going to feel aggravated and unhappy deep down, right? And this is why I always talk about the marriage that looks good on paper. Because if you follow the marriage advice, if you're decent people, you're going to end up with a marriage that looks pretty good on paper. It's going to be like, we don't fight that much. We rarely fight. We raise our kids well. We are an effective team. And that's not really what I signed up for, right? Like that's not, that color bouncing. I'm sorry about that. That's really distracting. My overhead lighting is doing something weird. But my point is that that's not what you signed up for. You didn't sign up for roommates. You didn't sign up for a platonic life partner. That was not what you dreamed of when you went down the aisle. I'm pretty certain of that. So what you could do is you could read the Gottman stuff. You could stop the criticism, contempt, stonewalling, defensiveness, and you might just get to neutral, right? Now, some people, it's enough. Some people, there's enough like natural chemistry or, there's not a lot of water on the bridge, and that's good enough. Or for other people, it's good enough for a little while. So it'll improve your situation from like a drama-filled situation, and then it'll get you to neutral, and then you might get kind of frozen there, right? Because romance and chemistry are the opposite of friendship, right? It's like, remember when you were single and a guy who is your friend would be like, hey, I really like you and whatever. And you'd be like, well, you just feel like a best friend to me, right? Men hate this. They're like, she friend zoned me. And it's like, no, that's because there was no chemistry. There was no passion. There was no attraction from you. He was attracted to you. You weren't attracted to him. So in your marriage, you have to know how to create attraction. That's what passion is. That's what romance is. It's the feeling, it's the butterflies, it's the longing, it's the excitement of your relationship. And that is the part that I specialize in and that I love to teach. So let's go on. What are some of the things that defeat you or block you in your attempt to have this passionate, amazing, lifelong love? I call it the reasonable, practical wife trap. So you might be a woman who is hardworking, very effective in the home, outside the home, gets along well with others. Like you consider yourself a pretty decent human, pretty nice woman, right? And so in your marriage, you're always being reasonable. You're cutting slack. Okay, he's stressed. He can't, whatever. Or, he's not usually that bad. So I'll just let this one slide. Or, I should be grateful because he's actually a pretty good guy and he's having a tough week. And all these things sound good, right? It's like, isn't it a good thing to give him grace? Isn't it a good thing to cut him slack? Yes and no. So let me explain to you how this insidious little trap catches us conscious women who are into spiritual development. Is we can spiritually bypass our own emotions, gaslight ourselves into not feeling what we're feeling. So you might feel sad. You might feel longing. You might feel disappointment. Just feel those for a minute. Go inside. What do you feel? You're feeling frustrated, confused. But you look around you and you go, things aren't really that bad. Can I really feel those things? What is wrong with me? Maybe I'm too picky. Maybe I'm too difficult. Maybe I should be happy with what I've got, right? You're telling yourself, be reasonable, be practical. Come on, it's not that bad. Got things to do, stress, life is tough, blah, 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 right? But actually, those feelings are your guidance. Those are the feelings. Women, the way I see it is women have a radar for when the relationship is going downhill. And that radar is generally a lot more sensitive than a man's radar. So we start to go, this doesn't feel right? And he might go, it's not that bad. It's fine, right? It's fine. And other people might say it's fine too. But you know that you're not feeling right. Your intuition is going off. It doesn't mean he's cheating on you. It doesn't mean he doesn't love you anymore. It just means you can sense the trajectory of your relationship. And the sense is it's not an upward spiral, it's a downward spiral. So when you push away those, the still small voice, the whisper, you're turning off your navigation, right? That navigation that says something's not quite right is what has brought you here, right? And no, it doesn't have to be a disaster. I know your husband's not a jerk, and I don't want to vilify any of you or condemn or judge your relationship. I know that that's a fear that you might feel when you're not totally satisfied. So the first thing is have your feelings and don't make them mean anything. Don't make them mean your relationship is not okay or your husband's not right or you're incompatible or your attachment styles are wrong or whatever. Just start by going, I'm forcing myself to be this reasonable, practical woman. Essentially, you're trying to be a dude and cut yourself off from your feelings. And so many things go wrong when you do that. Not only do you miss your navigation, but now you've turned off the part of yourself that feels chemistry. You've turned off the part of yourself that goes, ooh, I love him. It's so exciting. He's so wonderful. You've turned it off because the same part that feels those little gentle tingles of I'm in love is the part that feels the little bit gentle scratch of irritation. They're subtle feelings, right? They're not despair. They're not, ecstasy. It's subtle feelings. And we need to tune in and honor those subtle feelings if we're going to walk down this path of extraordinary love. So don't be the reasonable and practical wife. Take it from me. Be the sensitive, alive, intuitive wife. Okay. So when we step out of the reasonable, practical wife shoes, it can feel like scary, right? Like what's going to happen now? This reasonable, practical thing, it kind of works. It doesn't work as good as I'd like it to work, but our relationship's not bad, right? It could get worse. What if I upset the apple cart? So this is a letting go of control. And letting go of control is not what you think. I mean, yes, you don't want to control your man. I'm sure you know that. But actually, there's all kinds of subtle ways we maintain control. And we do this emotionally by, being reasonable and practical. We do this subtly by ignoring things that actually hurt us, by pretending they don't hurt us, by zipping the lip and staying silent, by feeling like we can't change the rules. This is how our relationship has been for 10 years. Can I change the rules? Well, I just want a sidebar here. Esther Perel, an amazing therapist, sex therapist, relationship therapist, talks about how you should have many marriages over your life. And she means that with one person, if you don't rewrite that contract, it won't stay valid. It won't work for this next season of life. And that really stuck with me because I thought people often get divorced at those change of life. Your kids turn 7, there's a divorce. Your kids move out of house, there's a divorce. Like people, you're going to go through these huge life changes with your partner. The type of relationship that will work for you is going to change. And if you can't express that, if you don't know how to express that without it being a criticism, a problem, a fight, you're going to keep hitting roadblocks. And if you don't express it because you think you're not allowed to change the contract, the old contract's still going to expire. And you're going to end up in a relationship that doesn't work for you anymore. Okay. So letting go of control means stopping planning how things have to go and make them okay, and tuning into what you want and what you desire and what you feel, and living from that place. And yes, it's scary, but it's really the only way to go if you want to be fully alive. So what that means, this is what I do with my clients. Like, really, it's all this stuff about what we want in our marriages, but what I do is I help you awaken the woman within you, right? You're a mom. That's one of your roles. You know, you might have a career or a business. There's a couple more roles and hats you wear, but you are a woman. That is your essence. That is your nature. That is your body. That's your bodily existence. When's the last time you tuned into what that means? When's the last time you felt pleasure and sensuality in your body just because you are a woman? This is our birthright. This is our joy. This is our radiance. This is our life force. And when we tap into that, everything around us changes. We change too, and everything around us changes. But that is the part that we want to honor, that we want to adore, that we want to cherish, that we want to cultivate and give attention to, is the woman in us. Ask yourself how the woman in you feels. Does she feel cherished and honored and adored, or does she feel neglected and forgotten and withered? Because that's something we need to do first. Before any man is going to do that with us, we need to honor that woman. So you can see what I'm talking about here. Friendship is a gender neutral concept, right? Friends, it's platonic. There's no sexual charge. Doesn't matter if you're a man and a woman, or a woman and a man, or two women or two men. We know that friendship by definition means there's no sexual charge. So if you want romance and affection and cherishing, there needs to be a sexual charge. There needs to be attraction and tension, healthy tension. And that happens when you are the woman and he is the man. Now, that might seem obvious because we know about biology and many of you have had children, but what I teach you is how to be the woman and the man on an energetic level. So you can feel the joy of being that woman in the relationship, and he can feel the joy of being that man in the relationship. You know, you hear those things like, he makes me feel like a woman. Right. We like that feeling, only we don't know that we have a lot of, we have all the power to be that woman and to feel that woman, to feel like a woman. Now, a man might not be conscious of this, but when he feels like a man, he puffs up a little bit and he walks differently and he has more energy and he has more motivation and he takes more initiative. That's the nature of him feeling like a man and feeling good in his masculinity. So that's the end of part 3. Next time, in part 4 of 4, we're going to talk about what do you really want and how to really know and tap into that. And what's stopping us from knowing what we want and what's stopping us from getting what we want, because there's so much more available to you than you know. I really want to put that home with you. So again, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for my whole life, get into my Happily Married Woman program. Okay. If you have questions about it, I'll pop the link below. I think this banner's not clickable. I wish it was. I'll pop the link below, but you don't have to wait. Like, you don't have to cobble together bits and pieces of information, because it's all there in the Happily Married Woman. You get every piece of wisdom that I have distilled with worksheets and PDFs and the whole kit and caboodle, and you get a Facebook group for support. So if you're like, you know what, it's about time I invested in the thing that is absolutely the most important to me, which is my marriage, which is my love life, which is my family. I know that you're devoted to those people. I know you love them so deeply. And it's about time you enjoyed that in your body, and it wasn't just an act of giving and of caretaking, that it was you receiving and you delighting and you feeling like, you know what, this is really a fantastic investment, because now I get to enjoy this juicy and evolving and wonderful marriage. So comment below if you have any questions. Message me if you're like, you know what, I need one-on-one. Message me. We'll set up a free consultation and we'll just take it from there. All right. It's easy. Treat me like your friend. I'm easy. I hope you can feel that. Hope you feel that there's no barriers here between me and you. All right. This is sister to sister. This is all stuff I've been through. These are things that I'm continually working through because I desire a relationship that is constantly evolving, that is never stagnant, that continues to grow. And so I love deepening this work and sharing what I'm learning with you. Can't wait to hear from you. Bye-bye.